Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupat Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Shatash Srimad His Divine Grace AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupat Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Shatash Srimad His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summon Bonon, Chapter 20, entitled The Rainy Season and Atom, text number 7. Tapa Krishna Devamidha Asid Varsya Yasimahi Jataiva Kamyata Pasas Tanu Samprapya Tat Phalam Tapa Krishna Devamidha Asid Varsya Yasimahi Jataiva Kamyata Pasas Tanu Samprapya Tat Phalam Tapa Krishna Devamidha Asid Varsya Yasimahi Jataiva Kamyata Pasas Tanu Samprapya Tat Phalam. Christian. Tapakrisha, emaciated by the summer heat. Devamitha, mercifully sprinkled by the god of rain. Asit became Varsijasi, fully nourished. Mahi, the earth. Yata eva, just as. Kamya, based on sense gratification. Tapasaha, of one whose austerities. Tanuhu, the body. Samprapya, after obtaining that of those austere practices. Phalam, the fruit. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The earth has been emaciated by the summer heat, but she became fully nourished again when moistened by the God of rain. The earth was like a person whose body has been emaciated by austerities undergone for material purpose, but who again becomes fully nourished when he achieved the fruit of those austerities. Purport. In Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srila Prabhupada comments on this verse as follows, quote, before the rainfall, the whole surface of the globe became almost depleted of all kinds of energies and appears very lean. After the rainfall, the whole surface of the earth became green with vegetation and appears very healthy and strong. Here, a comparison is made to the person undergoing austerities for fulfillment of material desires. The flourishing condition of the earth after a rainy season is compared to the fulfillment of material desires. Sometimes, when a country is subjugated by an undesirable government, persons and parties undergo severe penance and austerities to get control of the government. And when they obtain control, they flourish by giving themselves generous salaries. This is also like the flourishing of the earth in the rainy season. Actually, one should undergo severe austerities and penance only to achieve spiritual happiness. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is recommended that tapasya of austerities should be accepted for realizing the Supreme Lord. By accepting austerities in devotional service, one regains his spiritual life. And as soon as one regains his spiritual life, he enjoys unlimited spiritual bliss. But if someone undertakes austerities and penances for some material gain, it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the results are temporary and are desired only by persons of less intelligence. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Vasaya Bhutale Srimate Ramapad Swami Iti Namine. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Vasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirveshesha Shunyavadi Pashatyade Satarine. Vancha Kalpatarubhyasha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo. So, the speaker canceled, so I have to cover. So I have absolutely no time to prepare this. It's a very fantastic topic to dive in, and it would have been nice to have a little time to think about and prepare. Um, the descriptions of the autumn season, the rainy season in Vrindavan, is just very beautiful, very poetic. But Srila Sukadeva Goswami now is drawing an analogy of the flourishing of the land after summer. Everything becomes dry, and then with the rainy seasons, things becomes so beautiful and so lush. Then Srila Sukadeva Goswami makes this comparison to tapasis, or to this type of transcendentalist. Actually, not, sorry. In this case, it's not a transcendentalist. It's someone who actually undergoes austerities for the purpose of material elevation or some material gain. And so when one obtains the fruit of these material austerities, then there is a temporary flourishing, material flourishing. We can see that the manifestations of everything in this material world is of a nature of, the term is described as asaswatam, which means temporary, comes and goes. So we live, this material world is ruled by the principle of duality. So sometimes it's this way, sometimes it's that way. So it goes cyclically like that. Comes and goes, comes and goes. So on one moment flourish, another moment dwindles, and then flourish and dwindles like that. So for someone who performs austerities for material purposes, it is described that this is less intelligent because it's of a temporary nature. Austerities are very important. In fact, austerities is the path that leads to actually self-realization. And a famous verse, I can't remember the Sanskrit, but it's Maharaj Rishabdev instructing his sons that one should perform this divya tapa, or this divine type of austerity. That is the purpose of human life. Human life is meant to perform this divya tapa. Tapa means austerities, and divya means divine or transcendental. Human life is meant for that. If human life is not used for that purpose, for that divya tapa, then it's not better than animal life. It is described as not better than animal life because it misses the point, it misses the essence of this human birth, of this human form of life. And just like animals that are completely covered by the identification with the bodies, animals only live
to fulfill the necessities of the body. So, sleeping, mating, eating, and defending. That's it. So when human life is directed simply to advance and to upgrade one's capacity to fulfill these things, then it's not better than animal life. It's just much more advanced animal, or if so to say, like that. In the Bhagavatam also, Prabhupada quotes this verse quite often, that the source of this bodily conception of life and how it affects uh, different levels and aspects of human purposes, and completely leads them to be no better than a cow and an ass. Jasyatma buddhi kunape tridatuke. That if one considers the self, the Atma, to be just this bag of three elements, tridatuke, dhatu means elements. So you have, this Pitta, Vayu, and Kapha. Fire, air, and earth. So these are the three elements that the main elements, the dominant elements of the bodies of a body like that. And if one considers the self to be this bag of these three elements, this combination of three elements, and Yashadnya Buddhi Kunapetri Swadi Kalatradishu Bhagma Ichyati, and one considers the land of birth to be worshipable. One recognizes so much with one's society, culture, land, like that. Especially nowadays, we have this strong resurgence all over the world of nationalism. That people are, countries and societies are standing by their groups, by their culture, and that they consider to be the rightful thing to do. Our people goes first, our land goes first, so we are nationalists. And so the Bhagavatam also puts those. So you consider the self to be the body, you consider the land to be worshipable, and then Yatirtha Buddhi Shalilena Karhi Chit. Then you go to places of pilgrimage. This is for the materialistic, the karma kandis, pious people who simply, for a matter of ritual, for a matter of elevation, of a better situation in the heavenly planets, etc., they perform rituals and religious rituals, and they go to places of pilgrimage, but simply to take bath, but have no interest in pursuing self-realization and obtaining transcendental knowledge from the saintly persons who dwells in these places of pilgrimage. No interest on hearing, but simply for a matter of a ritualistic performance. You do that, and it's simply like taking a bath in a sacred river, like an animal will do, like an elephant. It is described that the elephant goes into the river and cleanses himself very, very nicely. But then as soon as it comes out, it throws, dirt again on his body. Yatirtas Buddhi Salilena Kariji Yagyeshu Abhigyeshu Saeva Go Kara. Go means cow, Kara means ass. So, because of this Abhigyeshu, lack of knowledge and intelligence, they're not better than an ass and a cow. Not better intelligence like that. Can you tell to lower the voice? Jitendra. Can you tell Jitendra to lower the voice? So, um, so one have to, the purpose of life is self-realization. That's the actual goal of life. That's the purpose of human life. And the means to do that is austerities. But austerities, when is not deviant, is not for the purpose of self-realization, is used for the purpose of obtaining a material fruit. The fact is that austerity is a principle of action. That anything that we like to achieve requires a sacrifice. Every type of things that we need to that we have as a goal that we desire to obtain requires a sacrifice. Everything has a price, and it requires to undergo or to fulfill the cost of that, a sacrifice. So one have to have a clear intelligence and understanding of what the goal is. Sometimes we hear in these books that helps people become better at what they do, that they need to know what is their north. They compare that, when you're doing navigation, you have to know where your pole star, the north is, where the north is. So then once you know the north, then you can ubicate yourself and you can know if you go, okay, north is there, so east is there, and like that, you have the map and you can, go to where you have to go. If you don't have the north clear, then your effort is going to lead you to a place that you just, it was not what you actually were looking for. We know in history that Columbus wanted to go to India, and he landed in Dominican Republic, in the Caribbean, South America. So if our intelligence is not clear, and specifically if our intelligence is not purified, we cannot perform this Divyam Tapa. Therefore, with a contaminated intelligence, then our austerities is just going to lead us to a position we may obtain by our austerities, the fruit of these austerities. But if the goal of these austerities started with an contaminated intelligence, then it will be a temporary fruit and you will fall down again. to square number 1. So it's a very bad bargain. It's a very bad thing. I mean, imagine that you put your effort so much on something, and then when you're at the peak of that effort, then you find out that, oh, no, this is not the right thing, and then boom, you have to start all over again. It's a scary thing. It's very frustrating. So that's the position of materialistic people. Lord Brahma also tells this very fact in this very, very famous verse in the prayers of Lord Brahma to Lord Krishna. He says, no. He says, what is it? Let me try to remember it because I didn't prepare this. He basically say that the devotees, that he glorified the devotees, those who actually take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. And the principle is taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. So those who take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, for them, the crossing of this ocean of material existence becomes very easy. As easy as to jump over the water accumulated in the hoof print of a calf. So the ocean shrinks into the side of a little hoof print of a calf. And the lotus feet of the Lord is like a boat that have this capacity of shrinking the ocean of material existence. And then he say, all others who dismiss or who actually neglect to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, their intelligence is polluted. Abhishuddha Buddhaya, I should go. I just need the first word and then there it goes. Abhishuddha Buddhaya. Okay, I can remember. He says this because of this Abhishuddha Buddhaya. Abhishuddha means polluted intelligence. Buddhaya or Buddhi means intelligence. Abhishuddha, Shuddha means pure. Abhishuddha means very impure. Not just impure, but very impure. And one thinks one may think that one is very, very in a great position and free from different, you are in control. In your mind, you're in control. You're liberated. You're free. You're in the greatest position. And then they undergo this, with this polluted intelligence, a person undergoes these severe austerities to obtain the fruit that they think is the Param, the supreme position. So that's, if I have my goal, my material goal, I want to be in the heavenly planets. I want to be the president of this country. I want to be a rich person. I want to be whatever you want to be. This is the country, or we get this message. We grow with this message. You pursue your dreams. If you focus and you work hard, you will obtain your dreams. You persevere and work hard. You will fulfill your dreams. This is the American dream. It defines the culture in which we grow, Western culture. So you work hard and pursue that. So that dream, according to our polluted, very polluted intelligence, impure intelligence, lead us, to work very hard. And after working very hard, some of us may obtain that supreme position that in our mind is the greatest thing. But padanti adho nadrita, padanti adho, very soon you will fall from that position of illusory sort of supremacy and then fall down again. Why? Because padanti adho nadrita jushman angrayaha, because you neglect taking shelter of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead. So, without being at the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, there is no possibility to have the proper intelligence to act in such a way, and acting means performing this Divyan Tapa. To perform these divine austerities that will allow to flourish not only materially but spiritually. And be happy, be peaceful. Because Krishna defines the process of bhakti to Arjuna in the second chapter as Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means, action with proper discrimination, with transcendental knowledge, with intelligence. So with this proper discrimination, knowing what is right and what is wrong, then with this transcendental knowledge, we take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna by taking shelter on the spiritual master, and then perform our tapasya. And for the tapasya is prescribed by the spiritual master, the different sacrifices and austerities that are prescribed for us, and with the understanding that these things are for the pleasure of Krishna, because he is not only the proprietor of everything, the Ishavasya principle, but also he is our best well-wisher. And therefore, when we actually situated in this position, we can be happy and peaceful and progress in our spiritual life. What is it? Bhaktaram Jagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Sruhidan Sarvabhutanam Gyataman what is it? Shanti Richati. Shanti. You have a peace, happiness. So this is the the point that was developed in the purport by Srila Prabhupada's explanation in Krishna book about this verse. Any comments or questions? Is that on? That thing is not either number 1 or number 2. You have to bring the volume up a little bit. No, there's a fader. Don't touch those buttons. Okay.
You were describing the uselessness, in some sense, taking into account the purpose of self-realization to perform some sort of austerity that's to enhance, eating, sleeping, mating. So it seems not such a clear-cut thing, the transition to performing austerities with the purpose of self-realization. So I was wondering if you could perhaps touch on what helps someone to make that transition to performing austerities for the purpose of self-realization versus for some sort of material enhancement.
You need a devotee. You need to actually. The only way to obtain transcendental knowledge is one have to come in contact with a bhakta, with a devotee. Otherwise, is not clear. The north is not. The goal is not perfectly aligned. So one have to take shelter of a devotee. Devotee is considered tattvadarshi, someone who actually have darshan of the absolute truth, and thus he can actually. And what a darsha give to us? He give us the understanding that we are parts and parcel of Krishna. That's 435. After the Tadvidhi Pranipatena verse, then the next verse, so when one surrenders to the spiritual master, then the spiritual master, the next verse says, by being fully satisfied with that surrender attitude, then he delivers transcendental knowledge, which help us understand that we're eternally parts and parcels of Krishna. We belong to Krishna. So then things start to align. Without that, then it's not. Because even transcendentalists, now I remember the verse, when Lord Brahma says, he's referring to impersonalists, which is a transcendentalist with an incomplete understanding of the absolute truth. And because of that incomplete understanding, the intelligence is also polluted. And because of that pollution, then they fall down again. Because at the end, without taking shelter of the lotus feet, then there's no, you can be an impersonalist that is able to actually achieve this merging into Brahman effulgence, but then they have to fall down again. Because even obtaining that goal for an impersonalist, this Sayuya Mukti, then they have to fall down again because they didn't take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. So still it's considered that there is some selfish motivation. There's something that is not fully in place. It's incomplete. So the verse goes, Janyera Vindaksha Vimukta Maninas. Mukta. Even in their mind they think they're liberated. Janyera Vindaksha Vimukta Maninas. Tvayi Astabhava Avishuddha Buddhaya. Arudhyo Krichena Padam Padantata. Padanti Anodadrita Yusman Angrajaha. That all others who don't take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, even if they are these transcendentalists, who are impersonalists, who don't take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, in the mind they may think they're liberated, but they're not, because their intelligence is still contaminated. And even after going to great, great austerities to obtain that supreme destination that in their mind, they fall down again. So the whole thing is that you need to be under the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, and we obtain the lotus feet of the Lord by taking shelter on the lotus feet of the Spiritual Master. We pray every morning to the lotus feet of the Spiritual Master when we offer Srila Prabhupada's Guru Puja. Sri Guru Charana Padma. Sri Guru Charana Padma, that the lotus feet of the Spiritual Master are the only way we can obtain the mercy of Krishna. So, like that. So it's the Spiritual Masters, the devotees, they give us the lotus feet of Krishna because they are fully situated in the lotus feet of Krishna. So Prabhupada, the devotees are usually Jayam Vishnupad, Paramahansa Vishnupad. They are the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. So because of that, then we can take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Otherwise, it remains external, it remains material. And therefore, the fruits are temporary. So,
I have one more question. Thank you for the response. There's mentioned that like the Karmakanda portion of the Vedas, persons go through that, and at some point they come to what you were describing, contact with the devotee that gives the entrance into the bhakti path of self-realization. So it's still just that idea that it's kind of a progressive path, even going through Karmakanda to come to the point of taking shelter of a devotee. It still seems there has to be some sort of awareness or conscious understanding on the part of a person who is performing Karmakanda that, there must be something greater, something more than just material benefit. So is it that I've not seen clearly that there is, it's almost implied that a person following Karmakanda will come to a more evolved understanding. Is there something mentioned that, again, bridges that gap?
Yeah, it's a natural progression. It's how Krishna designed it because of the different levels of consciousness that are there. Um, so the Vedic system is designed as a ladder. So it's described like the yoga ladder. So you start with this karma kanda, which is basically you fulfill it's taking into consideration the strong bodily conscious that afflicted, the particular condition soul. And then because of that, you're not ready for anything else. But okay, so here's a way you can fulfill your desires in a regulated manner according to religious principles. So it's a very controlled thing. So then, while performing sacrifices for the purpose of obtaining some material desire, then the performance of sacrifice in itself is purifying. And because during that process of performing a sacrifice then are performed by brahmanas, and sacrifice are meant for the pleasure. In the Vedic culture, yajna is meant, the beneficiary of yajna, or the deity of that receive the offerings, is Lord Vishnu. So in itself, the whole process purifies. So gradually, people start to elevate their consciousness. And you see like that, you see many, we have the experience of we meet people that initially comes to the temple for purposes still for the same ritualistic karma kanda type of mentality. Always remember the picture of the guy in Tobacco that would stand for like half an hour in one feet. Remember, standing in one leg in front of the deities. Just regularly would come and praying from some elevation, some better material position, and situation. And there will be the guy who also will come regularly with a coconut, and this was this guy. He will come, he will offer the coconut and pray for wealth like that. So it was quite a bargain, you give a coconut and you get, material wealth. But you come to the temple and somehow or other you get into the kirtans and the classes and like that. You see people that sit like that. Eventually something start to go in. And you start to, by the purification, it happens to us too. As purification takes place, then something starts to open. Oh, this is what it means. Then, this makes sense. You go further and further. So, it's designed like that. And right now, because of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, this supercharged advancement is available to everybody. Like, if one comes in contact with the process of devotional service, and specifically one gets involved in this Sankirtan Yajna, it's powerful what it can do. The effect that it have on people that are ritualistic and things like that. Something goes in. And somehow or other they feel this attraction that they don't understand towards the deities, towards the devotees, towards the philosophy. They just pull in, even though they still hold to their, whatever conceptions they have, they still draw in. You see it all the time. And then eventually, you just, Krishna, Lord Chaitanya's mercy just take over. So, therefore, we have to exercise, as preachers and devotees, we exercise, this respect. We respect that everybody have their timing, and we just keep giving, prasadam, holy name, the philosophy, and with in a respectful, thoughtful manner. And then, it's a matter of time. Jai Baladev. Keep it short, okay? Because it's 8:25. I was not prepared for giving a class.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, thank you for your class. I'll just make a comment. You don't have to answer any questions since consideration of time. But this is one of my favorite topics because you were mentioning anything we do, anything we want to achieve requires some sacrifice. Like in sports, they sacrifice so much, but to become the best. And similarly, in this verse talks about austerity is meant to become the best, even in the name of spirituality. So this is one of my favorite points because we see in the scriptures that there are basically two kinds of austerities or difficulties. Those who perform the difficulty of honoring others, and those who perform difficulties to be honored by others. We see Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad performed the difficulty of honoring his father. Now, nobody will honor somebody who tries to throw you off a mountain. But he says, my dear father, I wish you well. In Hiranyakashipu, he performed difficulties to be honored by others. He had his skin eaten by ants. He was buried in the ground. His name means one who loves money and women, but he was even willing to perform the austerity of celibacy for thousands of years just to be the best. But there was one austerity Hiranyakashipu couldn't perform. He couldn't perform the easy austerity of forgiving and tolerating Prahlad, who merely disagreed with them. So we see in our spiritual life, we could do so many Ekadashis, chant so many rounds, but if we had the festival, we have the festival of Holy Name, chanting so many rounds, but if we had the festival of honoring others, our enemies, or honoring people we can't stand, don't sign me up for that festival. Sign me up for 1,000,000 rounds like Hari Dasa. So there's a nice, I'll just share with you a nice verse by Prabhupada's disciple, and that's my last point. It's from the Srimad Bhagavatam 11th Canto, chapter 19, verse 36 through 39. This is from the purport of Prabhupada's disciples. Prabhupada's disciple says, if one is not tolerant of the insults and abuse of others, nor tolerant of the inconveniences that may arise from following authorized religious scriptures, it is simply foolishness for him to make a whimsical show of tolerating extreme heat, cold, and pain, and so on, just to impress others. Same with chanting the holy name. Bahujama Kade Yadi Shravanam Kirtan Tabutanam Paya Krishna Padi Primadam. This verse from Adi Lila chapter 8, verse 16 says, even if we chant the holy name for many births, this austerity, if we're not performing the austerity of Trinada Pisuni chain, that Prabhupada mentions in the purport, then we're practically wasting our time. We get some benefit, but we're not reaching our fullest potential. And we see this. So Prabhupada also verifies this verse in the Bhagavatam 6th Canto, chapter 4, verse 5. So anyone can read that for references. So anyways, thanks for letting me share those favorite points I like to keep in mind.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your class. Hare Krishna.
Anything else? Just 2 minutes more. Yes, back to Alex.
Thanks, Prabhu. Just kind of have a quick question. I was thinking about this morning. You're mentioning it many times in your class about meditating on Krishna's lotus feet. And I was trying to do this morning, and seemingly to me it's like a mystical conception, like Krishna's feet, and just simply by thinking them, you're saying how our intelligence is, our buddhi is not, shuddha, and to me it just seems like a mythical conception, like mythological. Like, I'll just think about God's feet and everything's good. It's difficult to understand. I know it's like understand your spiritual master's orders and stuff like that, but still to me, because I'm a neophyte Bhakta, I'm like, I just think about these blue feet all day and everything's good. Or how do I? How to understand Krishna's lotus feet is what I'm asking, I guess.
These are things that it will be perfectly revealed. That's our north. We're in a path, and we go into a destination, and we know that what the goal is. But when you're crossing the ocean in a boat, and you're going to whatever destination, Spain, something, and you just see the ocean, and the ocean is unlimited. But if you have the right direction, you know that you're going there. You know that you're going to reach. And at one point, you're going to see the land. So similarly, we're in a process. At this moment, for us, in depending on where we at in our path, then we have to focus. We have to focus on the situation that we are. The principle remains the same, this focus, very focused, single-pointed focus, Vyavasayatmika buddhi, throughout. But if we're not seeing Krishna face to face, if we're not able to, even, seeing Krishna face to face is, something like, and the Krishna speak to us, that the Kishore is speaking to us like that, directly. Like today I was bathing the deities and, serving them. But, imagine Shishira Damodar in Vrindavan messing around with Srila Jiva Goswami. That Srila Jiva Goswami would have to, please be still, I need to dress you. Because he was moving and dancing and playing and things like that, and, like a child. So, how to imagine that position? So then, but for us, right now, what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says to us, the instruction that he gave us in this Vyavasayatmika buddhi verse, is that everything that exists for me, the only thing that the definition of this single-pointed intelligence is my focus on fulfilling the orders of my spiritual master. And that's our focus right now. You do that, that's the lotus feet of Krishna, because, like I say, Sri Guru Charana Padma. So that is the lotus feet. And then, as we go on, at one point we're going to see it. We're going to see everything will be revealed. We have to be, enthusiastic and patient, and have faith in the process. Utsaha nishchara dharyat. So, and then, everything will be revealed on time. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you.